Hey there, how's it going? Do you want to see what I got growing on in the garden? Come check this out. And now, by chance, if you're new here, hey there, appreciate you coming hang out with me. The name is Gray. I am a Texas master gardener growing out of Zone 8B, just south of Dallas, Texas. And generally, what I want you to know is I'm just a nice guy here to help you grow. You know what? Maybe even put a smile on your face. But with that being said, let's get into the swing of things. I know you're looking at this like, what is that, Gray? This is actually a tangerine cutting that I just got from one of my friends. He paid about $10 from a lady that was selling citrus scions, and he said, "Hey, do you need a another orange tree to add to your orange grove?" I was like, "Yes, I do." So appreciate you, Dwayne. And we're gonna sit that right over here in our little orange nook. And now, speaking of the citrus I'm growing, of course, like I told you, we just got the new tangerine that after about a couple of weeks or so, I'm gonna probably up pot this into something just a little bit bigger, and then plus change out the consistency of the soil. I'm not really happy with how dense this soil is. I want something a little bit more well draining. See, because most of your citrus is really going to appreciate a nice, well draining soil, something that's not going to be very, very dense and hold a lot of moisture because it really doesn't like wet feet. And if you're not familiar with that vernacular, wet feet essentially is just, it doesn't want its root system just sitting in water. Essentially, because when you have that happen, a lot of times you get into like an anaerobic situation where essentially you're pulling the oxygen out of the soil and makes it really challenging for your citrus or most of your plants to even grow. Now, while we're down here putting our tangerine in place, let me show you what else I have going on here. This, despite the fact that my label is all kind of dilapidated, you can't even read that anymore, but based off of the foliage, I remember what this is. This is actually a page Mandarin cutting that I cut a couple of weeks ago. And you hear that? I don't know if you guys can hear that, but sounds like we got some rain coming out here to Texas. That's why I'm glad I'm inside the greenhouse. And now I actually have cuttings from my blood orange as well. And like I was saying before when I was talking about the foliage on the page Mandarin, I can see how different this is. Let me grab our other visual compared to our page. See how the foliage is just slightly a bit different. And then plus with the page Mandarin doesn't really have any thorns going on here. But the blood orange does. And I'm going to see if we can get in really close. You see those little thornies coming there? Yeah. So even though my labels, that's my fault because every year I keep saying I'm going to stop writing all of my labels in marker because marker just goes away. But then every year I forget again and then again. But I do remember what these are. So yeah, this is my blood orange going on here. Now, in total, I have two of the page mandarins and two of the blood oranges. And while we're speaking about the blood orange, check this out. This is actually the parent plant that those cuttings came off of. This tree, if memory serves me, should be about maybe a year old or so. I got this from a local nursery. And when I mean local, local to Texas, this is actually from U.S. Citrus Nursery. I ordered this last year, and when I got it, it was about 6 months old. So I'm saying it's about 1.5, like a year and 6 months or so. So I'm anticipating actually seeing some fruiting going on in this blood orange sometime this year, hopefully. And now, for those of you doing the mental math, saying, wait a minute, Gray, didn't you say you're just south of Dallas, North Texas, and you're growing blood orange? Are they cold hardy enough to even withstand your winters? First, I'm going to say, one, I like the way you think. Two, that's why we're inside this greenhouse. Now, I'm going to take a quick tangent. I'm going to digress as I always do. If you're new here, I do it all the time. I go on these little rabbit hole adventures. But right now, I'm inside my portable greenhouse from the makers over at HàVN. That's exactly what it's called. It's a HàVN, HàVN portable greenhouse. And I love this greenhouse. I've actually covered several videos on it before. So make sure to check that video out. I'll put a link somewhere over here in this realm so you can go check out that video if you want to know more about this portable greenhouse. Because really out here in Texas, it really is a game changer. Because like I said before, having a permanent greenhouse in Texas is really a challenge because I can only use it 3, maybe 4 months out of the year, and then the rest of the year it's really scorching out here. So it really doesn't serve a great purpose. So having something portable just makes practical sense. But in regards to the fact that, yes, it does get chilly out here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and typically a blood orange would not be something that I could grow year-round out here in Texas because it would get too cold and I would end up losing my tree and my fruit or anything. But that's why I love the fact that I'm able to grow this blood orange in containers inside this greenhouse when it does get to those frigid temperatures. So anyway, that was me digressing. With that being said, let's travel over here to the Page Mandarin so you can see the parent plant on that tree as well. Now, we're going to try to see if we can climb back here to get to where the Page Mandarin is. Apologize if you're seeing the back of my head right now. But yeah, the page is actually kind of tucked back here because with some of the cooler temperatures that we got during our colder months, this is a Monstera deliciosa. I like to practice plant density. Out here in the greenhouse, I will pack a lot of our containers, a lot of my plants around other plants, so you know they stay warmer together. This is a Monstera albo. But my page is actually back here as I move plants. This is a Monstera Thai constellation. Can you tell I like Monsteras? Because even though I don't live in a tropical climate, I do love me some tropical plants. All right. One more deliciosa. Let's move you out the way, girl. I know. Give me just a moment. There we go. We're getting there, boo. Do I talk to my plants? I don't know. You tell me. All right, and here we go. Here's our Page Mandarin. Let's see if we can get this camera in here closer so you guys can see. And here we are. This is our Page Mandarin here. Look at that new growth there. Those some great foliage. So this Page Mandarin it's about the same age as the blood orange, and we got a lot of vegetative growth on it. So I'm anticipating getting some fruiting going on this one this year as well. Now I do have a second Page Mandarin that my wonderful wife was able to pick up from Costco for me. So the citrus that I actually got last year was off of that older tree. And now if you're sitting here looking and you're like, Graylin, I know you love ornamentals, but what's going on with the Monstera? Well, believe it or not, we actually have a little bit of cold damage going on here. So see these leaves up here that would actually very close to the canopy on the greenhouse. They actually still got cold damage on them from when we got temperatures down to like 11 degrees. So what's happening is when these leaves are touching this plastic, despite how thick this plastic really is, by touching that plastic, they're getting that cold just as if they were out in the elements, because essentially that cold is actually transferring right through the plastic. Now that was my fault, because honestly, this Monstera grew a lot more than I anticipated being out here in the greenhouse, and then it started touching up to this roof, and by touching it, honestly, it burnt a lot of the leaves. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see this one here, but I mean, we got a lot of burning going on there. So what I'm doing with this Monstera is I'm going to go through and do like some heavy prunes to those really damaged leaves, especially when we're in this ideal climate inside the greenhouse, because I know when I go through and I make my cuts, they'll be able to callus over and heal before I introduce, the Monstera out back into the wild, so to speak. Now, other plants that I got out here, over here in this corner, I almost fell. My knees almost didn't want to make that bend. I have a vast array of all of my ferns. I have a combination of Boston ferns as well as I think some Queen Mary ferns. I really just love the way ferns really add some greenery to like your curb appeal. So a lot of times I'll take these ferns and I'll place them like right by my front door. So it creates, more like a warm, inviting kind of environment in the spring. So they're hanging out here right now, of course, because Dallas cold will definitely burn the leaves. Interestingly enough, the ones back here in the back, that's a that's a lesson I learned the hard way last year. This it's a challenging time of year out here in Dallas. Now, if you're watching this video right now as it comes out. It's currently Valentine's Day. It's February 14th. And here in Dallas, we really want to get into that growing season because we have very long growing season. And we're like, ooh, it's warming up. It's spring. Yeah, not really, because what's going to happen is this is kind of like what's called false spring for us. So we get all excited, we get those 80, sometimes 90-degree weather, and we're like, oh, it's time to start planting. And then like March 1st, we'll have like a snowstorm or a freak frost just come out of nowhere. I mean, it's happened multiple years. And that's what happened to me last year. I put these ferns out, and yeah, they had a really hard frost come through and just burn the leaves back severely. But that's the beautiful thing I love about ferns, because even after all of that leaf burn that I had on the ferns, I cut back that dead foliage, and she popped right on back. So you gotta love the resilience of plants. But while I have you here, check out right over here. And now these are my dragon fruit. But these aren't just any dragon fruit. They are very special because these I received from my friends over at Epic Gardening. My buddy Paul, who works with Kevin and Jacques, he actually took these from Kevin's garden, and he made cuttings for me so that I could have some dragon fruit. And I am super excited. So now the backstory on these dragon fruit is that I was back in October. I was out in Maine, way up north, out in Maine, working on a project with the team over at Epic Gardening. We're working on a project for Home Depot, which that series should be coming out really soon in March. So make sure you subscribe to the Home Depot YouTube channel so you can check those series of videos when they come out. But after filming and after doing our work, we were just chopping it up, having a casual conversation, just talking about different plants. That's what plant bros do, right? And I was explaining to Paul that I was like, hey, my son, he's really into gardening just like me, my son being 7 years old. And he just found out about dragon fruit. And dude, he is so excited about growing dragon fruit because, I mean, it's a fruit, sound dragon, you know what I mean? He's all into dragons and dinosaurs and trucks right now. And Paul was like, dude, you want to grow dragon fruit? He was like, oh man, let me send you some cuttings. When I get back to San Diego, I'll send you some cuttings. They're super easy to grow. Your son is going to love it. And truth be told, as soon as Paul got back home, he took some cuttings and he sent the dragon fruit over to me. And my son, if you could see the joy on his face, he was super excited. But Paul was absolutely right. With the dragon fruit, despite being out here again in Dallas Zone 8B, it can't really handle our cold. But as far as growing this dragon fruit, I took those cuttings. They calloused over real nicely. We placed them down in some soil, water it, one to every 2 weeks or so, and they have been doing great. They have rooted, and now we got new growth going on them. So we are super excited. And then plus the variety selection, right? All right, so the varieties that Paul sent over to me, I mean, we have everything ranging from Great Pop, Ecuadorian Paloma. I mean, it's a vast array of cuttings. Oh, Sour Patch Kids. So I'm super excited. One, on the strength of my son, because he's excited. And if he's getting excited in gardening, he loves what I love. Hey, more the merrier, right? Come on over to the gardening fold. But two, I know there's a debate on growing, or a lot of people have, thoughts on growing dragon fruit. Like, oh, well, dragon fruit, it always tastes bland, like a bland kiwi. That's because you're getting grocery store dragon fruit. Growing dragon fruit, tasting a fresh one off of the actual plant, it's a whole new ball game. It's like the song from Disney, it's a whole new world. And now, as we swing around away from the dragon fruit, right over here, these are tomatoes. But these aren't just any tomatoes. These are actually my compost tomatoes. Now, there's a whole story with these tomatoes. These tomatoes, all right, it's actually not that long of a story. These are tomatoes that actually grew out of my compost bin because obviously I put some kind of overripened tomato in the compost. What overripened tomato I put in there? Haven't the foggiest. I have no clue. But Nonetheless, I put the overripened tomatoes in my compost, and the seedlings started growing. Now, this was back in the fall. So with that being said, I see a plant growing. I see a plant sowing. So I went ahead and transplanted them over into nursery pots, and now we have all of these tomatoes that are growing. The only challenge is I don't know what type they are, right? So I've just been letting them grow, do their thing, and these are going to be our fool around and find out tomatoes. But my family loves tomatoes, so I'll take tomatoes any shape, fashion, or form I can get them in. And now, with that being said, they have been growing fairly vigorous. They are getting a little bit of a canopy effect with all the monsteras that we have here. So I do need to do a little bit of pruning back on some of the new growth. Just because we have a little bit of wilt going on. So now these nursery containers that I have these tomatoes in are not the right size by any means. These will definitely be getting transplanted out into maybe one of our raised beds. But look at you. How dare you? They're already fruiting. These guys are already ready to produce. But yeah, these will definitely be transplanted out once the potential risk of frost has, alleviated us from here in Dallas area. These will get transplanted out into one of my birdies raised beds for sure. But then we can figure out exactly what kind of tomato variety these are. I'm interested to find out. And now, if you've been hanging out with me this long, all right, here it comes. The other shoe about to drop. Here's the hard ask. And the reason why I say it's a hard ask, because I always forget to ask when I'm doing a video. And yes, I said ask. I have a Texas accent, so sometimes it sounds like I'm dropping that K, but that's just my enunciation out here in Texas. Uh, but I digress. If you haven't subscribed yet, I really would appreciate a subscribe. If you enjoy hanging out with me, I mean, if this isn't your cup of tea, yeah, it's not really your speed. That's okay. No worries, sister or brother. I appreciate you for your time. But yeah, if you get a chance, I appreciate a subscribe. Oh, also, this is another thing. So I told you I work a lot with Epic Gardening. They are really my friends. They are some really cool folks. I love working with them. But with that being said, I actually have a series on the Botanical Interest website. Now, Botanical Interest is, of course, owned by Kevin and Epic Gardening Company, and we have a series together called Q&A with Gray. So if you have questions about your plants, if you have questions about, and it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's seed starting, whether it's your ornamental plants or fruit trees, head on over to Botanical Interest YouTube channel. Definitely give us a subscribe. But drop your comments in our latest video, and I will film a response for you and help you out and keep you growing. And now, moving right along to the other plants that I have here. I'm telling you, I've got a lot of plants in this greenhouse. I mean, that's me. I love plants so much. I love growing so much. I grow 365. Any chance I get, I'm out here growing something just because I love the life that comes from the plants. And then plus, I love the peace that comes from gardening. I was recently speaking with a buddy, and he said, "Oh man, you work so much. You need to rest. You need to go hang out in your man cave." Guess what? The greenhouse is my man cave. This is where I like to hang out. Me thumbing and fooling around with some plants. That's my piece of heaven right there. But with that being said, here's another plant. This is yet another Monstera deliciosa seedling, or actually, it's a propagation from a cutting. And if you're wondering, Gray, why do you have so many deliciosas? Believe it or not, I'm actually certified as a mobile nursery. So a lot of times I go to plant shows and I will sell my cuttings and propagations. So with that being said, my buddy, Andre the Farmer, and I, if you're not following Andre the Farmer, please do. He's an awesome guy. He's out of Central Florida. The man grows over 20 different varieties of mango right in his backyard. But he and I will actually be traveling to Houston, Texas, and that's going to be April 25th, 24th, 25th, 26th. It's going to be that weekend, the same weekend that the Michael Jackson movie comes out. We're going to be down in Houston, Texas, for Plantcon Houston. We will be holding a grafting and air layering seminar showing folks how to graft and air layer fruit trees. So make sure if you're in the Houston area, come on down, hang out with me and Andre. We can talk plants. We can answer some of your questions. And if you're interested and you need seedlings or you want some ornamental plants, come on by because I'm going to have quite a bit down there. Not sure exactly what all I'm going to bring. I know it's going to definitely be the deliciosas, probably some pink princess philodendrons, or maybe some fruit tree scions. I don't know. Why don't you tell me in the comments if you're thinking about coming down to Plantcon Houston? Definitely check out their website. Plantcon. What is it called? Plantcon.org. That's it. Check out their website for ticket information and everything. But let me know in the comments what are some things you would like for me to bring because I love propagating. So I can bring quite a bit. Speaking of propagating, despite how scraggly it looks right now, this is actually, we're looking at one, and let me turn the camera. Yep, two Jamaican sorrels, hibiscus sorrel plants that actually were started from cutting as well. So if you're interested in sorrel and you would like to have your own sorrel, maybe I can do a couple of propagations of the sorrel and bring those down as well. And now the reason why they're looking so scraggly is like I was saying before, you know, the tops of the plant actually ended up hitting the plastic on our HàVN greenhouse. And of course, we got that transference of cold right into those leaves. But overall, the plants are very healthy. And I'll probably be maybe doing 10, 15 more propagations off of it because they grow so fast. And now up top here is where I'm housing a lot of my seedlings. These are seeds that I started back, maybe a month ago or so. But these are my red metamorph marigolds. I'm super excited about these because this is a marigold and I love marigolds. One, it's a beautiful flower. Two, it's a great companion plant for a lot of the annuals that we grow out in our garden. But this is a red metamorph marigold, and I have too many of them. But these are some red metamorph marigolds that I'm happy to see these seedlings. They're looking a little leggy just because of the time of year, and they're out here in the greenhouse because, you know, we're still in those short day periods as far as how much sunlight we're getting. So I could put a little grow light right above this canopy here so they're not so leggy, but they're marigolds. They'll be okay if they're a little leggy. I mean, because we still have some relatively strong stems on these marigolds, so I'm not really as worried about them. Now over here on the side is where I am housing yet another flower, and this is my Gaillardia goblins. These are, I'm just excited about these because this is my first year growing the Gaillardia goblin, and it's a flower with a orange fiery kind of colored bloom. That it's called the blanking flower because I mean it puts out so many flowers, and this bad boy will be blooming all summer and all the way into the fall until we get our first frost. So I'm super excited about this one. I actually covered both of these crops or flowers in another previous video, so I'll make sure to put that somewhere up here. So if you want to check out the seedlings and see how we start those seeds, you can definitely check that video out. Now over here on this side, actually the seedlings that my kids started the other day. They really want to get a jump on the growing season as well, and they love melons. So I had them write out the labels, and we have our sugar baby melons, as well as moon and stars melons, then some cantaloupe seedlings starting as well. So once the temperature's warm enough, once we get that good, you know, 65, 75 degree soil temperature, we'll get those transplanted as well. Now down here at the bottom, we also have my Pakistani mulberries, Pakistani mulberry number 1 and number 2. The only difference between the two is just one is in an air pruning pot. Interestingly enough, I was talking about air pruning pots on my podcast. This is a podcast that myself, Andre the farmer, and Derek the chocolate botanist, we host together on Tuesdays, and we were talking about air pruning pots. And the interesting thing is that we had a viewer that was saying that your grow bags actually work as an air pruning pot as well, and they're 100% right. And now these Pakistani mulberries, I'm really impressed with how well they're growing because these guys actually started from cuttings that I actually bought from a seller on Etsy. They were just branch cuttings. And, you have to love this plant or this tree because I honestly stuck those cuttings into some soil, did not really have to do much work. And boom, we have roots. We have roots established. And here's another smaller one that I have here. It's tucked over here behind my hibiscus. But hmm, let's have some caterpillars here in the greenhouse. But yeah, this is one as well. It went dormant during the winter months, but I popped it over here in the greenhouse and they're doing just fine. We have a lot of vegetative growth starting on it. So I'm excited to see when these guys start to fruit. Is that a root sticking out there? No, that was just a twig. Now over here on the other side of the greenhouse, I have various different plants growing as well. Um, I think these are pink hybrid tomatoes growing in over here in this 25-gallon grow bag. Um, right here in the center, I did have some ground cherries or some tomatillos, purple tomatillos that were growing, but looks like the plant has died back. That's completely fine. I'm surprised it lasted long as it did. So eventually I will probably pull up the plant itself, but I have a strong possibility of thinking that this plant might have reseeded itself. So I'm not going to disturb the soil, so to speak, because I really think that it's going to reseed and start growing me some more purple tomatillos. But then also right next to it, I have another vining tomato. And in all earnest, I'm not sure. Again, I suck at labeling, but I'm not sure exactly what this is because I have multiple different tomato plants growing out of this one container. And looks like I might have some beefsteaks coming in, as well as possibly some kind of like pole cherry tomato coming in as well. So I don't know. I guess subconsciously I don't label because I like the anticipation of finding out what variety it is. We're going to go with that. We're going to say that's my reason behind it. Now, as we round the bend on this impromptu garden tour, it's funny because I didn't think of this as a garden tour because I'm like, oh, I'm just, inside the greenhouse. It's not a garden tour. But yeah, no, this is 100% a garden tour because I'm still growing out here, right? But as we round the bend here, now, first of all, let's talk about the tomatoes and, the different varieties we have going on here. But it looks like I have a significant amount of wilt. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to prune this back and I'm going to take this blushing tomato off of here so it can ripen inside the kitchen. But I'm going to go ahead and cut all this back because one, it's not producing anything, it's wilting. So I want to redirect that energy into the rest of the plant since the rest of the plant is actually doing so well. But again, like I said, as we round the bend here, we also do have some basil growing because that's another thing I love growing. I love growing basil. Just about any different variety of basil you have, I love growing. I mean, Genovese is a great Italian basil that you can grow for different meals and so forth. But I love the exotic ones like the Thai basils, the purple basils, and that's what we have back here. This is a deep opal purple basil from last season. It's still growing because I love that basil and I love its scent. And then right next to that purple basil in another container, we also have my orange habanero peppers as well. We got a little bit of wilt going on it as well. And that's honestly, I may have been forgetting water a little bit. I mean, it happens. I mean, yeah, I know you're thinking like, Gray, but you've been growing for over 20 years. You're a Texas master gardener. How do you forget to water? I'm human too. I forget to water. With that being said, let's talk about that. Texas master gardener, right? Being a master gardener. Because a lot of folks, I want to clear up the muddy water, so to speak, about being a master gardener. I know that's not what you're here for in this video. That's what we're going to get today. So if you're not interested on knowing anything about being a master gardener, you can go ahead and skip to the next segment. But, a lot of people assume when they hear that, oh, you're a master gardener, that must mean you know every plant in the world, every different growing variety or growing conditions and plant varieties and so forth. No, that's not what it means to be a master gardener. And if you're a master gardener, please back me up in the comments here. Being a master gardener, it's a service organization. That's what we do. And I sound like I stumbled when I said that. Service organization. That's what we do. We're here to help you grow. Literally. I mean, you can, a lot of districts or a lot of counties, you can still actually have I think you have a hotline where you can call in and ask a master gardener questions about your plants, about your soil, and so forth. We're part of local ag extension. So out here in Texas, that's going to be Texas A&M for me. The website is tamu.org. But we're part of the local ag extension, and we're a service organization. We volunteer and we help people grow. We educate them on growing conditions, on different varieties of plants. Does that mean we know every single growing, condition or plant in the world? No, but we are well versed in our specific zone, and we do a heck of a lot of research. So if you're thinking, like, like I said before, that being a master gardener makes us like this superhero, no. I mean, I do have a cape, but that's for when I cosplay. But no, not a superhero. But I'm just here to help you grow. So I hope that clears things up. So you understand that when someone says they're a master gardener, or if you hear, me talking about being a master gardener, it's not because, I'm trying to flex on you like I know every plant in the world. I still do a heavy, copious amounts of research on just about everything I'm growing. Even when I'm answering your questions, I do a lot of fact-based research. But yeah, that's pretty much everything that I have growing on. See what I did there? Growing on in my Haven portable greenhouse. But I don't know about you guys. Yeah, I have a lot growing on in there. I have a lot I'm growing inside my plant room inside. Copious amounts of seeds I'm starting. But I can't wait for spring because I'm an ambitious gardener, like Tupac say. I can't deny it. I'm a straight gardener. You don't want to mess with me. Yeah, I have ambitions as a gardener. There's a lot that I'm gonna be growing this year. But hey, I appreciate you coming hang out with me. It's been awesome speaking with you. But may your weeds pull easy and may your blossoms forever bloom. It's been awesome talking to you. Talk to you again real soon.